करने का काम उसमें वो महाकाली के माध्यम से होता है, और महालक्ष्मी के माध्यम से लव और ब्यूटी, ये दो चीजें का प्राकट्य उस साधक के साथ असेंडिंग ऑर्डर में जब वो महालक्ष्मी तक पहुंचता है तो वहां पर उसको ये प्रकाश, ये लव और कंपैशन, करुणा, ये सारा भाव जो है महालक्ष्मी से, सौंदर्य वहां से मिलता है। अब इस त्रिविध मार्ग से जाकर के फिर इसके आगे वो एक ऐड करते हैं, ये जो परम सत्य के साथ परम दिव्य जो है, दिव्य आध्यात्म विभूत है। देखिए ये दिव्य गीता के अंदर वो कहते हैं कि स्पष्ट मैं पार्थ रूपाणी, तुम मेरे रूपों को देखो पार्थ, मैं तुम्हें दिखाता हूं, अपना रूप दिखाता हूं, और ये रूप तुम मेरा जो देखोगे, इस रूप को तुम्हें इस अनंत रूप में देखोगे तुम इसे, लेकिन उसमें वो उन रूपों के अंदर तुम्हें अपनी दृष्टि का एक उन्मेष करना पड़ेगा, दृष्टि को खोलना पड़ेगा। तो महासरस्वती के रूप में वो विशुद्ध रूप से श्वेत पद्मासना या श्वेत पद्मासना या शुक्लाम ब्रह्म विचार सार परमा माध्याम जगत, जिस रूप में ध्यान करते हैं उसका, कुंदेन्दु तुषार हार धवला या शुभ्र वस्त्रावृता, वो भगवती महासरस्वती का जो स्वरूप, महासरस्वती तक जाकर के सरेंडर जो है उसका पूर्ण होता है, और वो पूर्ण समर्पण के साथ जहां पर बिल्कुल निरपेक्ष भाव से, कुछ उसमें स्वार्थ का, कहीं भौतिकता का लेश भी नहीं रह गया है, ऐसी स्थिति में जाकर के जब दिव्य मन उत्पन्न होगा, अतिमानस उत्पन्न होगा, तो वो अतिमानस में वो चेतना उतरेगी, और वहां से वो, जैसे हम कहते हैं गंगा जो है वो ऊपर से नीचे उतरते उतरते धीरे धीरे शिव के मस्तक से होते हुए हिमालय के ऊपर उतर आई, तो वो चेतना जो है उस महासरस्वती सारस्वत चेतना से वो होते हुए, उसको लेकर के वो जो साधक है जो असेंडिंग ऑर्डर में था, वो वहां बैठा नहीं रहेगा, वहां नहीं कहेगा कि मुझे स्वर्ग मिल गया, मैंने यहाँ से वापस नहीं जाऊंगा। नो, जैसे वो कॉन्सुमेशन है, कम्युनियन की बात है, उसी तरह से यहाँ कम्युनिकेट करना है उसे आकर के, उसे उस मैसेज को नीचे लाना है आरोहण क्रम से। अब अवरोहण के क्रम में उस दिव्यता के संदेश को ला करके मनुष्यता के इस मानव जगत के अंदर उसको अवतीर्ण करना है, और उस अवतारण, उस अवतीर्ण, उस प्रतीक्षा के अंदर साधक लोग बैठे हैं वहां पर आश्रमों के अंदर जहां जहां भी हैं कि वो अवतीर्ण होगी। तो इससे मैं समझता हूँ कि ये आरोहण और अवरोहण का जो क्रम है, ये भी कुंडली योग के साथ बड़ा घनिष्ठ संबंध है, वो विषय अन्यत्र हो जाएगा। लेकिन सूत्र रूप में अगर श्री अरविंद के दर्शन को मैं आपसे कहूं, तो आप देखिए कि उनका जो एक प्रतीक बना हुआ है, उनके पब्लिकेशन के ऊपर एक प्रतीक है बना हुआ, जिसके अंदर एक त्रिकोण जो है ऊपर से नीचे की ओर आता है। ये त्रिकोण कहते हैं उन्होंने बनाया कि ऊपर से नीचे की ओर जो त्रिकोण है, ये सत्य चित और आनंद का त्रिकोण है। फिर इस नीचे से एक त्रिकोण ऊपर को जाता है और षटकोण बन जाता है। नीचे से ऊपर को जाने वाला जो है वो जीवन, ज्योति और प्रेम का त्रिकोण है। जीवन, ज्योति और प्रेम ये ऊपर को जाएंगे, सत और चित आनंद नीचे को आएंगे और ये ऊपर को जाएंगे। उनके बीच में जो एक चतुष्कोण सा बनता है, वो चतुष्कोण जो बनता है बीच में, दोनों के योग से जो चतुष्कोण है, वो संपूर्णता का प्रतिबिंब है। इसलिए पूर्ण योग, श्री अरविंद के योग को पूर्ण योग नाम से कह देते हैं। वो पूर्णता है, चतुष्कोणता जो है वो उसमें परफेक्शन, संपूर्णता का है। और उसके बीच में कमल का जो उदय है, वो उस योगी, उस चेतना का अवतरण है, उस यौगिक चेतना का अवतरण है, जिसे दिव्यता को लेने के लिए श्री अरविंद इतनी देर तपस्या करते रहे। वो तपश्चर्या से, उसमें जो सातों लोगों में से वो कहते हैं कि ये तपस से ये चेतना अवतरित होगी, उसके लिए तपस चाहिए। वो उसमें वो जो कमल है बीच में, वो कमल जो है अरविंद, जिसे हम कहेंगे, वो अरविंद जो है वो उस अवतीर्ण चेतना का स्वरूप है, निर्मल चेतना का स्वरूप है। और उस कमल के नीचे जो जल है वो यूनिवर्सलिटी, ये नानात्व का सिंबल है, नानात्व का सिंबल है। नानात्व मैंने जितने जल है वो जल की बीच के बीच में धीरे धीरे हल्की हल्की सी लहरियां आप देखेंगे। तो ये एक जो उनका प्रतीक बना है, वो प्रतीक उस सारे उनके जो अतिमानस योग जिसे हम कहते हैं, ये सिंथेसिस ऑफ योगा, क्योंकि वहां पर किसी का निषेध नहीं है, न भौतिकता का निषेध है, न परंपरा का निषेध है, न नवीनता का निषेध है। उसमें ध्यान केवल मात्र मानव मात्र के कल्याण की ओर है। उस दिव्य चेतना के बिना वो मानव कल्याण होगा नहीं। इसलिए केवल मात्र प्रार्थना करते रहने से वो कहते नहीं होगा कि सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः हमारा पढ़ देते हैं। उसके लिए प्रैक्टिकली उस चेतना का आवाहन करना होगा कि वो नीचे उतरे और वो मनुष्यता का सत्य संकल्प, सत्य जीवन के साथ और बिना सत्य जीवन के साथ जुड़े ये जो अतिमान, ये जो नीचे का मन है, ये तो नाना प्रकार के उसमें पाखंडों का सृजन करेगा और विनाश में ले जाएगा। मैं समझता हूँ कि ये उनके अतिमानस योग के इस भूमिका को मैंने समय अधिक ले लिया हुआ, ध्यान नहीं मुझे। आप लोगों का मैं हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूँ, आप सब लोगों ने जिन्होंने सुना। और मैं समझता हूँ कि ये एक बहुत ही आत्मीयतापूर्ण क्षण है और इस आत्मीयतापूर्ण क्षण के लिए आप सब लोगों के प्रति मैं हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। You told us that how consciousness has evolved throughout our evolutionary process, and that man is not a final end product. Consciousness, at the level of consciousness which we are there, is not the final process. But thank you for telling us that how Sri Aurobindo has shown us a path so we can achieve the divine consciousness. Thank you so much. Now we are open for questions. If anyone wants to comment or ask a question, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Can we take a few questions?
Yeah, you can.
Can we take a few questions, sir? Can we take few questions? Yes. Anyone like to comment or ask a question?
हाँ, आप पूछे हैं, अगर जो किसी का प्रश्न है तो कर ले।
Do we have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I can.
No, sir, no, but I think everybody is okay. No questions are here. Now I will move on to our next.
Hello.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah.
Myself, Dr. Hemlata Srivastava, University from Allahabad. सर, मुझे ये पूछना था कि कैसे इस कोविड-19 के पीरियड में हम कह सकते हैं कि समग्र योग उचित रहेगा और हम किस तरह मतलब इसमें लागू कर सकते हैं सर?
इसमें देखिए, एक जो आवाहन का मार्ग है, ये उसके लिए वो आवाहन का जो तरीका है, और उस तरीके में सिर्फ मुश्किल ये होती है कि वो ट्रू फेथ और ट्रू एस्पिरेशन और वो सरेंडर से एक कुछ क्षण के लिए प्रार्थना जो है डिवाइन के आगे, उसके अवतरण से, क्योंकि वो पराशक्ति जो है वो संपूर्ण उसको ये कोरोना आदि समस्त व्याधियां जो हैं, ये शक्ति रूपाचारी की सारी, इनको महामारी स्वरूप है, तंत्र जो आगम है, इन सब महामारियों को शक्ति का रूप मानता है। तो ये उसमें मैं समझता हूँ कि ये हमें श्री अरविंद के जो दिव्य योग है, दिव्य जी उसका है, उस दिव्य योग का आश्रय तो इसी रूप में लिया जा सकता है कि हम सच्चे हृदय से, शुद्ध हृदय से, निष्कलुष हृदय से हम उस दिव्य चेतना का आवाहन करें कि रक्षा करो मनुष्यता की।
जी जी।
That's what I think.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Am I audible now, sir?
Yeah. बीच में
Now I would like to yes, I would like to invite Professor Raghunath Ghosh to say a few words on Tagore, Vivekanand, and other contemporary philosophers on yoga. What are their views on yoga? Raghunath, sir. Your voice is not audible. Sir.
Yeah, it is somewhat disturbing.
Yes, sir. Yes, it's unmuted.
You can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Yeah.
है उनका sir.
Yeah. Oh,
Please unmute the mic, sir.
yeah.
Hello.
Oh, you,
Yes, sir.
Dania, इसे बंद करना.
Please unmute the mic, sir.
Mute the mic कहते हैं.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you
I can
hear
hear you,
me?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let us start.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I am grateful to Rajasthan University Authority in general and my friends, their teachers, Professor Singh, Arvind Singh ji, and also my friend and others also. So I am happy that we can meet my friend, though indirect meeting through waving meeting is possible. So I am very much grateful to all of you, those who are hearing me. And now I would like to say something regarding the contemporary philosophy, where yoga has taken a great part. So first, I will start with 4 definitions of yoga. 4 definitions which are not Patanjali given by Patanjali, but given in the Bhagavad Gita. One definition is yoga karmoshu kaushalam. That is, yoga is a kind of method through which one can expertise for doing something. That to be expertise for doing some duty is to adopt yoga, meditation. This is in Bhagavad Gita. Second, yoga is also in Bhagavad Gita. Samattam yoga uchyate. When there is equanimity, equal status, to think the equality among the animate and inanimate objects, they are called shamatta. And this is also another type of yoga. Then in aesthetics, we have got one definition that is given by Bamon in his Kabbalankar Sutra. What is that? Yogastu samabodhanam. Yoga is just like one-pointed concentration. one pointed concentration is called yoga. And in same Bhagavad Gita, we get another term yoga, which is found in the logo of Life Insurance Corporation of India. What is that? Yoga Kshemang Baham Maham. Here I myself, Sri Krishna is telling that I myself bear two things, yoga and kshema. These are two great managerial policy in our Indian philosophy. Yoga means apraptasya prapanam yoga. Whenever you have not got anything, yoga can associate you with the object by way of providing you this thing. This is one type of yoga. And yoga is not sufficient alone. We need some sort of kshema also. What does it mean? Whatever we have received, we must protect all these things. The receiving is not the final end in our life. Whatever we have received, to protect all these things, also another type of duty, which is called kshema. So these are the four definitions normally adopted by the contemporary Indian philosophy. First, yoga karmosu kausalam, samattam yoga uchyate, yogastu samavadhanam, and yoga kshemang baham maham. Now, I will start with Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore told that each and every human being has got something which is called extra. Extra means extra power, extra energy, which is hidden in human being. And whenever this extra power is awakened, the human being becomes a kind of divine power, can acquire a kind of divine power, which is called human being is called Mahamanava. In one sense, it is Mahamanava. When your power of surplus is generated, it is called, you are calling, myself will be called by others and Mahamana. In other words, it is called Moner Manus. Moner Manus, the term coined by Tagore, that is man of the heart. And he has got, my friend, this phrase, Moner Manus. He has got this phrase from the Baul sect of Bengal. In Baul sect of Bengal, there is one beautiful song. What is that song? Ami kothai pabo tare, amar moner manus jere. In English, where shall I get that personality who is called Moner Manus, man of the heart? And he told that not only the Bauls have said this thing, Ami kothai pabo tare, amar moner manus jere. Not Bauls have told of this thing. Even in the Hiranyagarbha Sukta of the Veda, the same perplexity has been found in the mind of a rishi. What is the perplexity? In Baul is telling, I am perplexed. Where shall I get the man of my heart? And same perplexity is also found in Hiranyagarbha Sukta. What is that word which perplexes the Vedic rishis and how they express themselves? They express themselves by the word Kasmai Devaya. Habisha Vidhema. To whom God shall I offer oblation? Because God is within a human being, within mind. So I won't see anyone in the external world whom I can worship, pay oblation. So Rabindranath Tagore want to tell that this is talked by, this theory has been talked not only the Vedic rishis, but also the so-called illiterate Baul class of Bengal. So this is one type of power which gives you, which is called Monir Manus. And this Monir Manus is something which is awakened through the awakening of the surplus power. And my friends, Rabindranath has taken some of the mantras of the Upanishad. He has two books, one in English, The Religion of Man, another in Bengali, Manusher Dharma. Both are not the same. In Bengali, there are certain things which are more. So he told, in Kena Upanishad, there is a mantra. What is that mantra? It is told, Shotrasha Shotrang Manasa Manojat Vachaho Vachang Shau Pranasya Pranam Chakshusha Chakshu Ratimucha Dhira Prittasmal Lokadamrita Bhavan. Meaning is that Brahman is eye of the eye, eye of the eye, ear of the ear, mind of the mind, and nose of the nose. The Western logician will tell, what does it mean? Chakshusas chakshu, eye of the eye, mind of the mind. So all these things are nothing but tautology. But Rabindranath told, no, Chakshusas chakshu, both the eyes are not having the same meaning. Eye is something which is external, and inside eye there is another eye which possesses the surplus. Even in the Shotrendriya, which is called the ear, one is external one, and in external there is a powerful eye which is called surplus in eye. In the case of mind also, in the case of Bak also, whatever we are speaking through Bhagindriya, it has got dual status. One status is external one, another status is internal one. So internal is nothing but the surplus power in man. So whenever it is told in the Upanishad, eye of the eye, ear of the ear, this is nothing to say that whatever is being seen in you is not final. Inside you, there is some extra power. This extra power is called surplus in man. And my friends, you will be astonished to know that even in the Nyaya Shastra, Jayanta Bhatta told in his Nyaya Manjari that each and every while discussing Yoga Pratyaksha, he told that while we are discussing about everything, one thing should always be remembered, that in our eye there is some internal powerful eye. The eye which is seen from outside, it's not the full eye. Inside there is another eye, which is called, there is another powerful eye. And Jayanta Bhatta told that in this powerful eye there is something which is called Otiriktata. So what Rabindranath called surplus is called by Jayanta Bhatta Otiriktata. And he told that this thing is possible in our daily life also. When mother says, my son will come today, and really son comes, he told this is a kind of telepathic experience. It is a kind of yogaja pratyaksha. So an eagle can see a piece of fish from long distance, but we cannot, because the power which is in our eye is not awakened. So it is told that we must awaken this power. And for awakening this power, we can get something more, which is called surplus. Even through the surplus, what are the products of surplus? The surplus product is whatever is good quality in a man. Professor Angiras was telling about benevolence, about loveliness, about maitri. All these qualities, moral qualities, it is the product of our surplus power. And not only that, even the poetic creation is also kind of the product of yoga. There also surplus is being utilized. When Ratnakar, Dasyodalapati, has seen the death of a Karlev couple, whenever they were in the mood of enjoyment, then Ratnakar or the dacoit felt some sort of feeling, and this feeling is superficial one. But after some time, this superficial personal sorrow is transformed into the impersonal one. And as soon as it reaches the realm of impersonality, it is conjoined with power, which a normal mind cannot grasp. That's why we normally call it is nothing but the grace of Saraswati, metaphorically. Though Sri Aurobindo told that grace of Saraswati is the superpower. But here in Anandavardhan, Dhannalok told, all these are called metaphorically the grace of Saraswati. It is no Saraswati elsewhere. If there is any Saraswati, the goddess of learning, it is in our body. So when this power is generated, then the problem of creativity, then the power of creativity comes. And this power of creativity is found in aesthetics. Whenever some literature is being created, a rasa is being created, it is also the impersonal feelings, and which is also the product of surplus of human being. And this product of surplus is possible. Why? Because there are so many means of the arousing the product of surplus. Rabindranath told, there are in our Shastra, there are do's, vidhis, and also don'ts, nishedas. And we have Pancha Mahabrata in our tradition. Brahmacharya, Asteya, Parigraha, Shama, etc. and etc. If we do this thing, restrain our power, then the surplus will come. If a man has unfortunately loses his eyes, his other organs, sense organs are more powerful, becomes more powerful, because the beautiful example is given. When there is a bridge of water, if you make a small hole in the bridge, then the force of water will be much more than earlier, because it is one-pointed concentration, one-pointed flowing. So our sense organ, if it is closed otherwise and one portion is open, then our power will be much more, which is called a kind of surplus. Otiriktata, as called in our life. It is possible. It is not an impossible phenomenon. And in such cases, in the case of creativity, it is Junjano type of yoga and Junjano. There are two types of yoga. Yoga jo dividho prakto yukto Junjano vedata. One is connected with the object for longer period of time, just our rishis. Everything Sri Aurobindo is revealed to him. And this revealing is continuous flow. No break. But in the case of poet, in the case of creative writer, in the case of moral man, Junjano is there. Just like connections, and after 2-3 hours there is disconnection, again connection will come. So power is created. The sun power of the sun, we don't have any problem when we enjoy the power of sun. But when the concentrate the power of sun through a magnifying glass, then it has got the property of burning the paper. So our sense organs is like this. And you will be happy to know that in Upanishad, Manaso Manojat, it is told. And it is more clearly said in Kathopanishad. The mantra goes like Padanchi Khani, like this. He told there are two words, Sukho and Dukho. And in both words, Kha is common. And why it is called Kha is common? Because Kha means, extensively it means Akash, sky. But the extensive meaning, intensively it is Akash, extensively any type of sense organ. So any type of sense organ is called Kha. When the sense organs are running after object, this is not beyond our control. Nirodhata nasti. Concentration nasti, restraint nasti. Tadaiva, at that time, it is not yoga. It cannot give you the surplus power. It goes outside, so you will not be happy. And that's why this cause, indriyos, becomes dukh, that means unhappy, full of sorrow. But you have power to control the sense organ inward yourself. What is inward? When you bring the power towards ourselves, the opposite direction, then I can awaken my surplus power. And by virtue of that, our sense organs will be the giver of happiness, enjoyment. That's why the cause are su, otherwise cause are do. All these things are told by Rabindranath Tagore in different way. But I don't want to spend time with Rabindranath. Let us come to Swami Vivekananda. We can start with a story from Jatak. What is the Jataka story? So there is a story of the bhikkhus, both the bhikkhus. And you know Vivekananda was fond of the Buddhist philosophy and also the Buddhist bhikshus. So there is a story, 2 or 3 bhikshus were coming from the distant village in the evening. At that time there was a great shower. And great shower, they have taken shelter in the cow shed of a gentleman. And the gentleman, after looking at the bhikshus and their cows, they started singing a song. What is that song? The meaning of the song is that we have sufficient food in our house for the cows and for ourselves. Our sense organs are also fulfilled with happiness. We have no absence, no lacking at this time. Therefore, O rain, you go on showering go whole night. After hearing this thing, the bhikshus realized that these songs are addressed to them, that you won't get out from the cow shed because the rain is going on. Then in order to give another challenge to the cowboys, the bhikshus again told, sing a song. What is the song? That our sense organs are under our control. Our mind is self-restrained mind. And other sense organ also in our control. Even the hunger, thirst, they are also under control. So, O rain, you go on saying, showering. The second instance is the instance of samadhi. Second instance, the instance of yoga, which Swami Vivekananda told only to give us a lesson. Again I can tell you, my friends, that Vivekananda also believed that samattam yoga vichyate, equanimity. And he has equanimity in various objects, in various things. What are the equanimity? He told, each and every human being is nothing but God. Jive prem kore je jon, sei jon seviche. And there is a little bit interpretation, why prem is there? Why not daya? If we interpret Vivekananda, daya has got some sort of egoistic attitude. If I make you mercy, this feeling of mercy is egoistic. But feeling of prem is not egoistic one. So don't bring daya, but bring prem. So it is opposite to mercy. So he told that each and every person is same. Isavasramidam sarvam. His moral philosophy is grounded on the first mantra of Ishopanishad, which you know, Isavasramidam sarvam yat kincha jagattang jagat tena takten bhunjita ma gridho kasya siddhana. The first premise, first sentence is the premise to Vivekananda. Why shall we enjoy through renunciation? Is it possible? It is a contradictory term. Renunciation and enjoyment. But Vivekananda told, no, it's not a contradictory one. There are persons in this world who enjoy through renunciation. If you look towards the mother case, a mother enjoys much more being empty-bellied when she sees that her son is enjoying food. This is not possible only in the case of human being, even the case of bird. My friends, you know there are examples of two birds, Da Suparna. One bird is enjoying the palatable food, another bird is enjoying the enjoyment is a kind of meta-enjoyment. First enjoyment is enjoyment. So meta-enjoyment is much more enjoyable than the normal enjoyment. So that's why Vivekananda is telling that you should enjoy the enjoyment, that is meta-enjoyment, and it is possible if there is samatva, equity, and among all animals. Not only this, he told that we want emancipation, but individual emancipation is not the one. We need universal emancipation. Here also we find, in case of attainment of emancipation, we need equanimity. And you know, Jato Mat Tato Path is the famous theory of Ramakrishna, elaborated by Swami Vivekananda, that each and every path has got the same destination. So this is also, whether you are a Muslim, you are a Hindu, you are Jain, you are Christian, whatever may be, you have to go to the same destination. Again, he told we should always do extreme path. We should accept two extreme things. We should have energy in our body. This energy is called the physical energy. It is not Maya, just like Advaita. He told, for being a great, you must need a physical power. So he told there must be equanimity between two things, Islamic body and Vedantic brain. Islamic body is not the communal sense. Islamic body is the diseaseless, strong and stout body. And this body is possible when you will get food, good food, substantial food. That's why he told bread without religion. Without bread, religion is not possible. First bread, then religion. So all these examples, again he told, Bahujana hitayo, Bahujana sukhayo. We must say this. And he has respect towards all other religions. When he was in Buddha Gaya and meditated under the tree on the bank of Noiranjana, he has a vision. And this vision is not, in the vision Ramakrishna did not come. Sharada Devi did not come. Even no Hindu gods and goddesses came. Only one came, who is Buddha. That's why it is not the magic, but it is his realization. That's why he told fearlessness, Obhi, which is called in the Upanishadic mantra. The Obhi is the result of yoga. That's why he is telling that I am he. He always think, be meditate that you are not an ordinary person. If you think that it is not possible for you, this is a kind of injustice to Vivekananda. Vivekananda told, is a sheep, is the young one of a sheep, if the young ones of a lion lives within the sheep, he started thinking that he is a sheep. But actually this is not the case. But if we think that we are infinite, we will be infinite. Shivoham will be Shiva. And this is Samatta, Samattan Yoga Uchyate. And he told, he was mostly influenced by Kathopanishad. Nayam Atma Balahine Nabalabho. That even the strengthless person cannot have this type of feeling. So this is what Vivekananda is good.
Sir, can you please unmute the mic? Sir, you're not audible. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a kind of mrityu. He told Atma Visriti is a kind of death. So Atma Sankacham is a kind of death. He told you should wake up. You should go up. Uttishtata Jagrata. Uttishtata means you go up. Why? From where you go up? From the world of Jaddo, which is called from the world of inertia. There are two types of inertia in our life. One is intellectual inertia, another is physical inertia. So Jagrata gives you the lesson that don't feel inertia. Since mantra of Saraswati it is there, Nishesha Jaddopaha, the goddess of love learning, gives us a kind of inertia, removes us from the realm of inertia. So this is Jagrata means you leave the inertia. You come forward. And if you come forward and leave inertia, what is told in Bhagavad Gita, Tvaibham Masmagama Partho. Don't try to take inertia within. You leave it. Then you can awaken yourself that you are not an ordinary human being. Tattvamasi. You are the Brahman. And if you have this thing, you can never think yourself. Inferiority complex will not be there. Only superiority complex, it is also will be not there. What is there? It is a samattam yoga. You respect all persons as equal to you. Lastly, I will tell few lines about Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo, Professor Angiras told very beautifully. I will touch one point. He told about integral yoga very beautifully. My friends, according to Sri Aurobindo, there are two hemispheres. In one hemisphere, there is Sat, Chit and Ananda. In another hemisphere, there is Satchitananda and matter, mind and light. And he told these two things. One is denied by materialists. Materialists told that matter, mind and life is Satchitananda does not exist. In fact, life divine starts with this. Again, the spiritualists told Satchidananda exists, but not spiritual world, which is called evolution. Again, there is way out also from the spiritualist world. They can come down to the material world. Satchidananda to life, matter, mind, from life, matter, mind to Satchidananda. When we see the both are same, it is integral yoga. It is integral philosophy. And how do you know? This is only I will tell. How we will know? And you know, Sri Aurobindo has written all books, being confined in a dark room on the bank of ocean, bank of that sea, Bangopushagar. And that room was open every day. Now they open this only on 15th August or something. The rare occasion. And this is the almost dark room. There was only one window. And through that window, only the food and papers were supplied. And you will see, my friend, each and every chapter of Life Divine starts with a mantra of our tradition. This mantra is the traditional mantra. His interpretation may not be traditional. So he has taken the seed from the tradition and sprouting and making it a great tree is his own development. So being confined in a dark room, he is a practicing teacher, not teacher like us. Acharya in the true sense of the term, one who practices himself and says others what to do, what not to do. He is a real Acharya in the true sense of the term. Sri Aurobindo was this. So each and every chapter is the result of his realization. So he told that our life, our body, which is given by the nature, and through yoga only we can transform our body to the divine nature. How we will transform our body through divine nature? We will transform our body through yogic process. And how we will through this? He told what is given by the nature. In the middle there is a nucleus which is called Chaitya Purusha, Rita Chit of Satchidananda in terminology of Sri Aurobindo. And this Rita Chit is surrounded by three circles. One circle is monomoy kosh, mental cell. Second circle is called pranomoy kosh, that is vital cell. and the outer cover is called physical self, Annamoy Kosh. And this is our physical body. Under this situation, we cannot have to change the naturally given order. How we will change? As the Ritochit is the nuclear, is the main function. It cannot function properly in the naturally given body because it is surrounded by 3 layers. One layer, as I told you, Monomoy Kosh, another layer, Pranomoy Kosh, and last one is Annamoy Kosh. As soon as you are starting yoga, you can bring it upside. It makes it upside down, or you can bring the Richotit Chit outside. And if we can bring Richotit outside, then it is luminous. Body is whole body and 3 koshas are illuminated because guiding force is the Chaitya Purusha. And as the Chaitya Purusha is the guiding principle, our mind comes first, just opposite. So mind is illuminated. If mind is illuminated, prana, vital course is also illuminated. And whole body becomes illuminated. And when we have this type of situation, then Chaitya Purusha is our guide. We can see the whole world, the materialistic world and spiritual world as same. And this is possible through this type of yoga. And then Sri Aurobindo is telling the naturally given body has become Bhagavati Tanu, divine body. Each and every part of the body is the part of divine. So, my friends, at that time, if our body is divine, our life will be also divine. And this is the grace of yoga, as called by Sri Aurobindo. And if we do this, if one person can do this, he can enlighten thousands of lands. So if one can get success, he can enlighten hundreds of people. And if people are full of divine force, then only life divine is possible. Divine life is possible. In human cycle, he told, the same symbolic stage will be repeated in the subjective age, in the Bhagavat age, but not the carbon copy. It is much more scientifically, technologically developed, just like a spiral staircase. Spiral staircase, the downwards, the first step is equal to the last step, but the last step is much higher than the lower stage. So this is our life divine. And Sri Aurobindo told in Savitri, we are waiting for the dawn. So I will end with the prayer with Sri Aurobindo. Let us salute the dawn, which is yet to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for this enlightening discussion. Now, if anyone has any questions, they can either type in the chat box or they can ask directly here. We have actually, sir, one question. One is,
No
what are the human values of Swami Vivekananda?
Okay.
Or what are the thoughts and Swami Vivekananda? One more question on Swami Vivekananda. That what are the thoughts of Swami Vivekananda on Brahmacharya, and how does he relate it to memory and strength?
Memory and
Strength, sir.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Brahmacharya is Vivekananda, you know, he was a brahmachari in the true sense of the term. Brahmacharya, he never told that you must be adopting brahmacharya for getting higher life. He never told. But he took brahmacharya for his own benefit because his lifespan was very less. So if we get brahmacharya, then the attainment of the divinity will be faster. But if you are even in the grihi, no problem for that. You will get the same brahmacharya, same divinity. It will take little bit more time, little bit more sadhana. So this is brahmacharya is not a compulsion in Vivekananda's philosophy. This is one. And secondly, you told how we do
Strength and memory.
memory and
Relates it to strength and memory, sir.
memory, it depends on your mental capacity.
Okay.
Someone can please go on.
Yes, sir. We have one more question. Can we say surplus is one kind of quality or dharma of the object? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Surplus, in the case of man, it is also a hidden property. Even in the object, there is a surplus. As I told you very quickly, that if you throw water from the mountain top, suppose a fountain, if it is thrown from the mountain top to the ground, it will gather some forces. And this forces produces some current, which is called hydroelectricity. Apparently, water has no power. Water has no current. But inside it, there is a current. When two branches of the tree fricks with each other, in generally there is no spark. But if they are forcefully fricks with each other, there is a spark. Even two stones. So can you tell that surplus power of spark, surplus power of current was not in the object, it was in the object. But I should know how to get out, how to take out this power from the body. My friend, you will be happy to know even in the science, there is some project called cow dung project. People did not know earlier. The cow dung has some sort of power of electricity. Even the garbages, they are not to be thrown out nowadays. They are put together and through some chemicals they are getting some current out of that. Sri Aurobindo told, from matter also this power we can get. So from matter and life you can get this thing. So the surplus is man. Man is easier to get out because depending on the concentration, in case of matter, the intervention of others is essential because matter cannot roll themselves. So you need, if you make collided, two stones collided, then the power will come. So that is only the difference. Anything, please? Any question, please?
No, sir, we have this much only. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much. So
Thank
I am
you.
again grateful to our friends and Vice Chancellor and all university authority for giving, and ICPR also, for giving me scope to tell before you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was an honor to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I would like to call Professor Daniel Ravaya from Tel Aviv University, Israel. He would speak on relating and reading Yoga Sutra with K.C. Bhattacharya. Am I audible, sir?
Can you hear me? Tenda, can you hear me? Can you see me? Jitendra, am I audible?
You have to. Professor Daniel, am I audible?
Yeah, I'm asking if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'm starting. So good afternoon in India. It is still morning in Tel Aviv. I'm happy to be with you in these difficult days. I'm thankful to Arvind Saab for inviting me. This short talk will be divided into 3 parts. A short introduction, then I'll say something about Patanjali Yoga and philosophy, and finally I will speak about K.C. Bhattacharya, KCB, on yoga philosophy. So I'm starting with the introduction. Last January or February, I had the occasion to meet and to speak to a group of MA students at the University of Rajasthan, Jaipur. It was after a lecture on Ahimsa, delivered by a Jaina scholar. What would you like to talk about? I asked the students when my turn came. After a few moments of hesitation, the students did not expect me to open the floor before I utter even a single word. One of the students, a young woman, suggested, why don't we speak about violence, hinsa? Everyone speaks about non-violence, she said. We are told, even preached at, to be non-violent. But what is non-violence? When I look around on the road, when I open the news, I see only violence. I live in a violent world, and I have no clue what non-violence is. Her honest question remained with me. What is non-violence? This question is not irrelevant to my discussion here today on Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. In Yoga Sutra 233, Patanjali writes, can you hear? Arvind Saab, am I audible? In Yoga Sutra 233, Patanjali writes, stop thoughts which contradict the yamas, one should cultivate their opposite. The immediate context of the sutra is Patanjali's discussion of the yamas, his prescribed ethical principles, from ahimsa, non-violence, to aparigraha, non-possessiveness. When a thought contradicting any of these ethical principles arises, Patanjali suggests, the yogin should cultivate its opposite. Interestingly, the opposite of a thought such as I want to kill him, Patanjali implies in Yoga Sutra 234, and Vyasa elucidates in his Bhashya, does not mean to produce a counter thought in the form of, I do not want to kill him, or I want to befriend him. Instead, the opposite would be to reflect upon the consequences of such a thought, which according to Patanjali are endless suffering and ignorance, dukkha and agyana. Please notice Patanjali's typical accurate, almost scientific articulation. He aspires to cover the whole sphere of contrary thoughts, referring to these thoughts in Yoga Sutra 234, quote, whether executed, planned to be executed, or even approved, whether driven by greed, anger, or delusion, whether mild, moderate, or intense, unquote. And one more interesting point, in his commentary on Yoga Sutra 233, Vyasa compares the human tendency to reproduce again and again contrary thoughts For instance, violent thoughts, even after reflecting on their painful consequences, to a dog's impulse to lick his own vomit. This is a potent metaphor, as it reveals the human inclination to always return to the familiar, to the habitual, disgusting and affected with dukkha, suffering as it may be. I'm still in my introductory remarks. I'm here today with you because of that question on violence and non-violence last January or February, but also because of Daya Krishna and Rajendra Swarup Bhatnagar, R.S. Bhatnagar, two wonderful thinkers and pillars of the Department of Philosophy at the University of Rajasthan. Both of them, some of you would know, were my teachers. Bhatnagar Saab passed away last November at the age of 86. Apropos my discussion so far, he thought and wrote about violence and what he saw as its possible remedies. And he taught us that every discussion of non-violence must begin with what is, namely with violence. I also wish to mention Bhatnagar Saab's last published work, Nagariki, his Hindi translation of Plato's Republic, or Politeia, published by the ICPR in 2014. When he was reaching the age of 80, Bhatnagar Saab started to study ancient Greek. And within 3 years of study, took upon himself the task of translating Plato into Hindi. I'm inviting all of you to look into Nagariki and pay special attention to the Bhumika, the introduction, where he discusses the task of the translator above and beyond the technical from to business. In Yoga Sutra 317, Patanjali suggests that whoever meditates, the word used here is samyama, whoever meditates on the distinction between the components of language, the sound or the word shabda, its reference, artha, and the idea, pratyaya, that comes to mind upon hearing this sound or word, obtains knowledge of the utterances of every living creature. Sarva bhuta ruta jnanam. This is a very interesting object of meditation, the distinction between the components of language. I mentioned this half jokingly as to imply that Bhatnagar Saab, already in his 80s, must have meditated on this distinction to be able to master ancient Greek and to read Plato firsthand. But on a more serious note, chapter 3 of Patanjali, the Siddhis or powers chapter, offers in fact many unexpected objects of meditation. As another example, take Yoga Sutra 353. Here the object of meditation is the relationship between kshana and krama, moment and sequence, the components of time. The siddhi, or result, or effect of this meditation is viveka jam jnanam, knowledge born of discernment. I will come back to chapter 3 of the Yoga Sutra and to the siddhis a bit later when I will introduce Krishna Chandra Bhattacharya, K.C. Bhattacharya, KCB, as a contemporary yoga commentator, besides his other more famous facets. But before getting down to business, to Patanjali and to KCB on Patanjali, I also wish to say a few words on Daya Krishna. Philosophy extraordinaire, and one of the pillars of the Department of Philosophy in Jaipur and of the ICPR, serving as the editor of the Journal of the ICPR from 1990 until his death in 2007. I mentioned Dayaji not just as a token of gratitude to a guru, but since one of his lifelong projects was rereading classical texts anew, from the Veda and the Upanishad through the Sutra literature to Shankar and the Bhagavata Purana, including, of course, the Yoga Sutra. In 2006, Daya Krishna published a paper titled The Undeciphered Text, Anomalies, Problems, and Paradoxes in the Yoga Sutra. Listen to the title, The Undeciphered Text, Anomalies, Problems, and Paradoxes in the Yoga Sutra. So much has been written on the Yoga Sutra, both traditionally and contemporarily, and yet Daya Krishna sees the text as undeciphered. The title conveys his working method. It is the undecipherability of the text, any text, from Patanjali to Kant to KCB to Derrida, which invites philosophical reflection. The heart of the matter for Daya Krishna is what he sees as two distinct goals presented in the Yoga Sutra, two distinct goals. Omnipotence as freedom, siddhi, and disengagement as freedom, kaivalya. In his paper, he critiques both. He is hardly interested, Daya Krishna is hardly interested in ultimate freedom of any kind, and sees the craving for ultimate freedom as a sign of bondage. Freedom, he writes, is not there once and for all, something which one is born with, that is intrinsic and innate to one, or something irretrievable that one can never lose. Rather, it is as empirical as anything could be, limited, constrained, conditioned, and even, to some extent, determined. As much as this paragraph is interesting to think of freedom as empirical, not ultimate, I will not offer you further commentary on Daya Krishna, on yoga, or freedom. Instead, I will invite you to read Daya Krishna. Most of his philosophical writings are open today, are open now, are open these days on a website called Daya Krishna, the Open Library, which you can easily access online. Part 2. A few words about the Yoga Sutra and philosophy before I reach K.C. Bhattacharya, KCB. Patanjali opens the Yoga Sutra, as you all know, with the dramatic statement, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is the, how shall we translate Nirodha? Cessation, stoppage. Yoga is the stoppage of mental activity in Yoga Sutra 1-2. This sounds utterly non-philosophical, even anti-philosophical. The total opposite of Descartes' cogito ergo sum, his famous Mahavakya from Principles of Philosophy, 1644. The beauty is that Descartes and Patanjali take a similar move despite their altogether different conclusion. I shall now close my eyes, Descartes writes, in Meditation on First Philosophy from 1641. I shall now close my eyes, I shall stop my ears, I shall call away all my senses, I shall efface even from my thoughts I shall efface even from my thoughts all the images of corporeal things, and at least, for that is hardly possible, I shall esteem them as vain and false, and thus holding converse only with myself, and considering my own nature, I shall try little by little to reach a better knowledge of and more familiar acquaintanceship with myself. This sounds like a yoga text, I wish to tell you. Descartes does not merely raise the question of self-identity, who am I, but searches for an answer just like Patanjali within. As far as their initial question and their direction of investigation, namely introversive investigation of the mind by the mind itself, Descartes and Patanjali share a similar method, even, as I said, if each of them reaches a different conclusion altogether about the connection or disconnection between the I think and the I am. For Patanjali, only when the I think ceases, the I amness, Swarupa in his vocabulary, can shine forth. But where is philosophy in Patanjali? If Patanjali begins with Chitta Vritti Nirodha, where is the philosophy? First, the question of self-identity. Second, freedom and its meaning. Third, after the dramatic statement about Nirodha, of the activity of the mind, Patanjali offers a map of the content of the mind, the content which is to be emptified for the mind to stop. For the mind to stop. The mind consists of, he writes, valid knowledge, pramana, erroneous knowledge, viparya, verbal construction, vikalpa, sleep, nidra, and memory, smriti. An interesting map. I would suggest that two essential ingredients of the human mind.
Yes, sir, you're back, sir.
What?
The voice, sir, audio is breaking, sir.
Can I go on?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, I'm going on. I was enumerating to you the different components of the mind according to Patanjali, and I'm suggesting that two things are missing. Two things are missing in Patanjali's map of the mind. One is emotion, the other one is imagination. How come he doesn't speak of emotion and imagination? I'm trying to suggest that perhaps he thinks that emotion and imagination are subordinated to the more noetic ingredients of the mind that he speaks about. Swami Hari Arananda Aranya, a contemporary commentator of Patanjali, writes on Vikalpa, on the yogic called Vikalpa, he writes, Vikalpa is a kind of useful knowledge arising out of the meaning of a word, but having no corresponding reality. Vikalpa is a kind of useful knowledge arising out of the meaning of a word, but having no corresponding reality. This is to say that Vikalpa, or verbal construction, refers to that which exists only in language, as against Shabda or Agama, namely reliable testimony, which is one of the constituents of Pramana in Patanjali. Vikalpa is depicted by Patanjali as Vastu Shunya, objectless or referenceless. His subtle analysis of the cognitive terrain is revealed here, as he underscores language uses which fall out of the inverted categories of Pramana and Viparya, and creates the separate category of Vikalpa for them. I asked, where is philosophy in Patanjali? And answered, first, second, third. Fourth, then, is Patanjali's sensitivity to language, to the possibilities and impossibilities of language throughout his treatise. Fifth, where is philosophy in Patanjali? Fifth is his analysis of time that I hinted to above when I spoke about Kshana and Krama. Sixth, the correspondence with two other schools of thinking, Sankhya, in concepts like Purusha, Prakriti, Avidya, and of course Kaivalya, and of course Buddhism. The Yoga Sutra consists of Patanjali's own version of the Buddhist Eightfold Path in his famous Ashtanga Yoga scheme, and of the Four Noble Truths. In chapter 2 of his text, Patanjali uses the terms Heya, Heya Hetu, Hana, and Hanopaya, referring to that which is to be eliminated, the malady, the cause of the malady, possible elimination, that is cure, and the prescribed method, upaya, to achieve elimination or cure. Vyasa, in his commentary of Yoga Sutra 215, compares between medical science, Chikitsa Shastra, and the science of yoga, Yoga Shastra, and explains that sansar, is the malady. The mixture, Sam-yoga, of Prakriti and Purusha is the cause. Cessation, nivriti, of this intermixture is the cure. And Samyag Darshana, or discerning gaze, is the remedy. And speaking of Patanjali's correspondence with the Buddhists, he also twists the Buddhist Brahma Viharas in his own way in chapter 1 of the Yoga Sutra, and debates with Yogacara Buddhism in chapter 4 about the necessity of postulating a quote-unquote uneconomical metaphysical horizon in the form of Purusha. One last thing about Puri's philosophy in the Yoga Sutra. I wish to argue without substantiating my claim because of the shortage of time, that it is often the case that when Patanjali speaks of meditation, his classical commentators, Vyasa, Vachaspati Mishra, the Vivara Nakara, Bhoj Raj, Vigyan Bhikshu, take or use the text, the Yoga Sutra text, as a platform or as an occasion to develop a philosophical investigation of their own, to think of language and time and the perennial question of self-identity. When Patanjali speaks of meditation, on the difference between the components of language and its siddhi in 317, the commentators speak of language, not of the siddhi, the effect of his prescribed meditation. I could bring many more examples from chapters 1 and 3 of the Yoga Sutra. For Patanjali speaking about meditation, the commentators taking it in a more philosophical direction. But again, the time is too short, and I'm reaching part 3 of my talk, K.C. Bhattacharya, KCB, on Patanjali Yoga. Usually when we think of KCB, Kant and Shankar are in focus. But I wish to call attention to KCB's studies in yoga philosophy, based on a series of lectures delivered by him in 1937. I do not know of anyone who reflected and wrote on KCB on Patanjali Yoga. In fact, I'm inviting you to think and to write on KCB on Patanjali Yoga. He is always projected as a Kantian Advaitin or an Advaitic Kantian. Only Daya Krishna, in his work Developments in Indian Philosophy from the 18th century onwards, from 2002, depicts KCB as a neo-Sankhyan, showing awareness of another series of lectures of KCB delivered in the late 1930s on Sankhya philosophy. As a neo-Sankhyan, Daya Krishna suggests, KCB moves through what may be called a process of de-identification, where each step of de-identification reveals the earlier identification to have been both voluntary and mistaken. But in his hurry to reach the subject as freedom, Daya Krishna further writes, playing with the title of KCB's famous essay, The Subject is Freedom, from 1930, in his hurry to reach the subject as freedom, he forgets that the real life of the subject as freedom is in the phenomenology of identification and de-identification, along with creation and dissolution of worlds, and not only in the complete withdrawal of the spirit into itself, without any correlate world at all with which to relate or to withdraw from. For Daya Krishna, identification or re-identification after de-identification is as much an act of freedom or free will as the Sankhyan de-identification. Daya Krishna's critique is illustrative of his broader attempt throughout his vast philosophical corpus to retrieve the phenomenal and objective, the corporeal and the material, too often neglected for the sake of the metaphysical or spiritual pursuit. In this respect, KCB is no exception. As much as he is an inspiration for Daya Krishna in thinking old philosophical texts anew, at the bottom line, KCB is a moksha thinker in a hurry to reach the subject as freedom, privileging the subject over everything objective. For Daya Krishna, this is the limitation of KCB as a thinker. Moksha is a limitation in Daya Krishna. According to Daya Krishna, KCB is not just an interesting Sankhya commentator, but we should also reflect on Sankhya trajectories in his own thought, in his independent essays. I wish to suggest that this is the same with KCB and Patanjali Yoga, namely the Yoga Sutra and its commentarial body. KCB is a unique, worth-reading commentator of Patanjali Yoga. And at the same time, it would be fruitful to search for Yoga Sutra traces in his independent work. Take, for example, the resonance of Patanjali's concept of Vikalpa that I spoke about earlier, expounded in Yoga Sutra 1.9, in KCB's notion of speaking. as against thinking in his essay, The Concept of Philosophy. The concept of thinking in KCB refers to what he calls scientific facts or empirical thought. Speaking refers to philosophizing, namely to abstract speculative thinking. Patanjali's definition of Vikalpa and the discussion of his classical commentators lead in a similar direction, namely abstract speculative thinking. So I'm reading Patanjali's Vikalpa in K.C. Bhattacharya's Speaking as Against Thinking. In his reflection on classical texts, I hope that you can hear me, such as the Yoga Sutra, KCB handles the text as no one else does. No one else does. On the uniqueness of this handling or treatment of the text, KCB's eldest son, Gopinath, the editor of his collected writings, writes, I'm quoting from Gopinath Bhattacharya, much of what KCB has said of Vedanta, Sankhya, and Yoga is not to be found in the extant original literature on these subjects. It is an extension or a development in new directions. It is the discovery of new potentialities. I quote from his preface to KCB's collected writings. If we read these lines non-apologetically, when his son writes that he is doing something new, that he develops in a new direction, so if you read these lines in a non-apologetic way, they reveal the secret of contemporary Indian philosophy. KCB does not write about Patanjali, Shankara, Kant, etc., but with and from Patanjali. He aims at taking Patanjali in new directions to excavate the questions that Patanjali was trying to answer, to offer new answers, and moreover, to raise questions of his own. It is crucial to decipher the newness of KCB's rereading of classical Indian texts. In his essay, Hind Swaraj from 1909, that KCB's essay Swarajin Ideas corresponds with, Gandhiji writes, I want to write many new things, but they must all be written on the Indian slate, But what or where is this Indian slate? What does it mean for Gandhi and for KCB after Gandhi? Surely it is not a return, a nostalgic return to classical sources, to the past. Both Gandhi and KCB are modernists. They both strive for something new. Pastness cannot be the newness that KCB and contemporary Indian philosophy after him is in search for. KCB, in my reading, is both an insider and an outsider. In and out of the tradition. This insidership has to do with his close acquaintance with classical Sanskrit sources, like Patanjali and his commentators. The outsidership has to do with his acquaintance with European sources, Kant, Hegel, and moreover with the European philosophical toolbox. It is this unique position, his in-betweenness, his insidership, outsidership, which provides a new vista. Finally, something about the contents of KCB's studies in yoga philosophy. What does he do in studies in yoga philosophy? Unlike many others who believe that Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is not philosophical enough to stand at the center of a hardcore philosophical discussion, KCB takes Patanjali and his commentators very seriously. I will briefly touch on three junctions interconnected to one another in KCB on yoga. One, willing. Two, the siddhis or yogic powers. And C, Ishvara Pranidhana, namely K.C. Bhattacharya's commentary on this salient phrase in the first chapter of the Yoga Sutra. Let's start with C, with Ishvara Pranidhana. In his chapters of yoga, KCB works like a classical commentator, attempting to explain what Ishvara, God, is doing in the Yoga Sutra. Are we dealing with bhakti? or with meditation on God, any God, Ishta Devta as object of meditation, bhakti or meditation. These two options or two interpretations are offered by the classical commentators. But KCB has something else in mind. Unlike his predecessors from Vyasa onwards, he connects Yoga Sutra 123, the Ishvara Pranidhana verse, not as usual to Yoga Sutra 112. This is the task of the commentator, to offer a coherent sequence of the sutra text. So he connects Yoga Sutra 123, not as usual to 112, but to Sutras 119, 21, and 22, to verses which the classical commentators almost neglect. I cannot explain his move here. The time is too short, and most of you are not Yoga Sutra scholars. I will therefore only say that for KCB, the phrase at hand, Ishvara Pranidhana, is a technical term referring to a certain moment within meditation in which willing or nirodha will or spiritual activity, all three articulations are KCBs, which brought the yogi, the practitioner, that far on the yogic path, is replaced with what he calls surrender of willing. Willing is replaced with surrender of willing. The key term in KCB's discussion of yoga is willing. Yoga, according to him, is philosophy of action, and willing for him is the heart of every action. If I had more time, I would discuss KCB's claim that yoga as against Sankhya, as against Sankhya, willing runs beyond knowing. He substantiates this claim by getting down to the details of the difference between sampragyata and asampragyata samadhi, the two main categories of meditation in Patanjali. But again, I cannot delve into these details. I wish to close with KCB on the siddhis, the yogic powers, expounded in chapter 3 of the Yoga Sutra. The place and meaning of the siddhis in Patanjali and the continuity or the ambivalence between siddhi and kaivalya as possibly inverted concepts of freedom, freedom as omnipotence versus freedom as disengagement, kaivalya, is beyond my present discussion. I will only say this. Hardly anyone takes the siddhis seriously. The striving for supernatural powers or special capacities, like the capacity of becoming invisible, or miniaturing the body, or moving freely in space, or knowing the language of every animal, seems fantastical, imaginary, and at the same time marginal, compared with the ideal of kaivalya, pertaining to ultimate freedom, freedom in the sense of transcending everything worldly. Unlike, by the way, the meaning ascribed to this concept, to the concept of kaivalya by Swami Vivekananda, who added social and even political overtones to kaivalya, which he translated into English as independence, thinking, of course, of the forthcoming Indian independence. The classical commentators suggest that siddhis or yogic powers are side effects or byproducts which dawn on the yoga practitioner spontaneously, uncalled for, as he walks along the path. As such, they can be seen as road marks, indicating that one has not lost the way and is moving in the right direction. Or they can work as the last temptation of the yogi on his way to kaivalya, the final destination of yoga, which is reachable according to Yoga Sutra 338, only if these powers are finally given up. But KCB, my last paragraph, but KCB begs to differ. Whoever admits free willing, he writes, again willing, in a sense admits magic in some form or the other. Whoever admits free willing, in a sense admits magic in some form or the other. According to him, the siddhis provide some preliminary experience of the magical efficiency of yoga. Some preliminary experience of the magical efficiency of yoga. They work as a preliminary proof that willing works, a proof that reality, quote unquote reality, as conventionally perceived, can be played with, manipulated, transformed, even annulled through the power of consciousness. This, according to K.C. Bhattacharya, would be yoga proper. This would be the real magic. KCB therefore writes that, I'm quoting my last quote, to doubt yoga vibhuti, the siddhis, the powers, is to doubt yoga itself. And to doubt yoga is to doubt the freedom of free will. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Daniel, for an in-depth analysis of Yoga Sutras and reading of K.C. Bhattacharya. We are open for questions. If anybody would like to ask Professor Daniel any question, please ask them. Any questions?
Since nobody is asking a question, let me finally say two things. First, I think that it's interesting to look into the political and the metaphysical in K.C. Bhattacharya on yoga. This is one point that I was trying to develop in my short talk. And secondly, I think that in these difficult days, a sense of magic that KCB is taking seriously is needed even for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And now I would like to invite Professor Sushim Dubey. He would speak on yoga and systems of Indian philosophy.
Namaskar to all.
Namaste, sir.
And this our, in fact, international webinar by including earlier to me, Professor Daniel Rave from Israel, directly connecting with us through this our online webinar on yoga in contemporary Indian philosophy, being organized, supported by the very rich Department of Philosophy, University of Rajasthan, Jaipur. Of course, with the sponsorship of Indian Council of Philosophical Research, New Delhi, which is under the leadership of Professor R.C. Sinha, we have been organizing or celebrating International Yoga Day 2020 with this online mode and try to connect with all our people. That is the yoga, that is the virtual yoga, and what we can derive, what we can gain, and what we can carry forward for our sustainment towards our disorientation, towards our mental distress, or we can derive from the rich tradition of yoga and yoga philosophy. So in this tradition, I wholeheartedly give my all namaskar to all who are connected with this Google Meet directly to us, as well as those numbers of all distinguished scholars, academicians and faculties, and all who are interested in yoga philosophy and its our rich Indian cultural resources for humanity, that is again the yoga, with us with this our online this program. Paying my also very humble submission and my namaskar to our honorable chairman, Professor R.C. Sinha, the chief guest of this program, and earlier to me, very respectable honorable Professor Ramakant Angiraj, very vibrant and depth and spiritual his talk, that profound talk we have had, and Professor Raghunath Ghoshji, a very profound scholar of means all branch of philosophy. We have had a largest number of research paper in JICPR. He is one of the contributors and profound scholar, and of course the Daniel Raveji, who is also connected with this university and very richly brought out the KCB philosophy and Yoga Sutra and its implications. So giving this brief, I am going to talk about in this program, of course I have had talked about in many programs on yoga, and I am trying to bring out something which is different with regarding to our perception or perspectives of yoga, particularly with the philosophy departments and what we are doing here with in our Indian tradition. So I would like to bring upon my all presentation here in this presentation two aspects. First is what exactly is the Indian scenario of our yoga and persuasion of yoga, not only limited to our philosophy departments, but around the country in different branches of learning and research, that is different departments. And second part, I would like to talk and try to relate Patanjali Yoga Sutra in terms of values which are very much required for our social, for our interpersonal, for the individual and national level. And it's in Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga interpretation of this. So I would like to focus on these two aspects. So first, I would like to begin with, as I have stated, that what exactly is the scenario of our Indian tradition. And here I have something to present you. This is, we have been talking about the Yoga Sutra, its Bhashya, its Vritti, and in contemporary tradition we do talk about, as we have had, that the Daya Krishna ji, KCB, of course earlier to me, Rabindranath Tagore, even Vivekananda ji, Sri Aurobindo a lot. But I would just like to very humbly submit that apart from these stalwarts, we have had a youngster and young research that they have delving in this very enriched field of yoga with their endeavor to bring upon ancient aspects, its therapeutical aspects, its psychotherapeutical aspects, its sports related aspects, wherever we can derive the benefits from the yoga, from the yogasana to pranayam to meditation, or in yam and niyam, that is the social, cultural and spiritual our values. So these are the departments which have been doing their research, means they have produced doctoral research in the field of yoga. Just to give a small their name, it is not limited to philosophy only, Ayurveda, education, English, home science, human consciousness and yogic science department across the country that we do have. Even language and literature, medical, physiology, medical sciences, physics, even physiology, psychiatry, Sanskrit, living preksha, meditation and yoga, Vedic darshan, yoga and life science, yoga and management. These are the departments which have produced. This is the Indian scenario of our yoga and rich that we have had, and we should be known to these efforts when we are talking about the contemporary Indian scenario or Indian philosophy pertaining to yoga. So their contribution, and little bit I would like to show further on these, that number of doctoral research on yoga awarded in different universities. And again, these are the departments which I have shown, and that can be seen here. And you can see the universities and their respective departments that have been with the yoga philosophy. So just to give a wider views to our all who are interested in yoga, that apart from all walks of subjects, they have been interested in yoga and they have come out with their interpretation in their subjects, their depth. So this is just to show very briefly and very cursorily. These are the departments. Numbers are showing number of doctoral researchers they produced in the field of yoga, and name of the universities also are written. And in this way, in total, I have around 550,555, means all research which have been produced, around 239 departments, other than the means including all philosophy departments and other departments. Very cursorily, I also like to show you these, what exactly were these research, so that it can be seen here. A title, a topic is there on the second column, and their language and the researcher, guide, department, university, place and year. and so on and so forth. So this is the database of all yogic research from different universities and departments. This is what is encircling in my this presentation and submission, that we are here with the contemporary scenario with our rich research on yoga, and I have till 2012, this is the number of research on different aspects, theoretical, sociological, physiological, psychiatry, and so on and so forth, various aspects of this doctoral research. This can be seen in very cursorily way. And just I am finishing and coming back to the second part of my presentation here. So overall here I have included number of research 559. These are the research. Apart from this, I wish to focus now, just I have presented for the sake of that this is the contemporary scenario on yoga research across the subject, across the department, and their interest in yoga. So we as a philosophy department, we are those who really connected originally with the Yoga Sutra, and Yoga Sutra is in our 6 systems of Indian philosophy. We are here to sustain the originality of talking or presentation or research on yoga, scholarly also in terms of original sources. So this is important for philosophy people, that is to have a depthful their status on yogic philosophy apart from these all departments. Now, having said so, I would like to briefly focus upon yoga, or that is the what I have talked about, that yoga as a global value for peace and harmony. So coming back to the presentation, I'm just finishing the PowerPoint presentation and try to relate that what exactly the yoga has been in contemporary, that the very title that of the program we have taken. May I request to conference host the person?
Yes, sir. I am messaging him, sir. Please, Mr. Sareem Abbas, can you stop presenting? Mr. Sareem Abbas? Okay, sir, that is happening.
Please remove.
Yes, sir, I am messaging. I am removing him, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we can continue.
Yes. So we are talking about the yoga in contemporary Indian philosophy, and in fact, I have taken that what we can interpret in contemporary scenario about yoga in our Indian philosophy. So this way, the second part of my presentation is based upon, and I would like to begin with that. How we have that the United Nations has accepted our proposal of International Yoga Day, and it was presented there as a yoga, and accepted also that yoga as an invaluable gift from our ancient tradition. And yoga not only embodies unity of mind and body, thought and action, but it is a holistic approach and is a valuable for our health and for our well-being. Well-being is of course included in the definition of health by the World Health Organization. Further, it was submitted to the UNO that yoga is not just about the exercise, it is a way to discover the sense of oneness with yourself and the world and the nature. So with this last sentence, with last phrase, that is the world and the nature, this was presented, and UNO also accepted, and around the world that we are having yoga as International Yoga Day is celebrated, and people are deriving the benefits of yoga through yogic practices. So in my further presentation, I like to focus upon this last phrase and wish to show you how we can interpret the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, particularly in terms of yoga as a global value for peace and harmony. This is what I like to show, and this is my just a small presentation. Here I have divided as an individualistic level, as a social level, at the national level and international level, what we can say or talk about the yoga. And I'm talking in reference to role and dimension of yoga as a global value. Can we say it? It is our contemporary interpretation. We have personal peace and enjoyment of our own body, mind, and this could be the individualistic level. At the social level, yoga or Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we have creating a kind of Satya, Hinsa, Asteya, Parigraha, Brahmacharya, or Shauch, Santosh, Tap, Swadhyaya, and Ishwar, Pranidhani, a kind of society which is on the based of the moral values and moral principle, that is the Yam and Niyam. At the national level, we want to remove conflicts and tension. Can we derive from Patanjali Yoga Sutra these values? And from the international level, we require international brotherhood. So I also would like to present onward on Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga in terms of these individualistic level, social level, national level, and international level, interpretation of Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga in terms of these four level of values. So with this, I further go upon my presentation that we have in Indian tradition yoga as a, in Ashtanga Yoga Yam, as I have already told, we can interpret it as a motivating or social behavior. This is Yamyanti Preryanti Yama, in this way it comes. And we have Niyam as the Niyamanti Nivartayanti Niyama, that is a restraining, checking, and self-discipline. Asana, Sthir Sukham Asanam, we can say it is the psychophysical practices in pranayama, control of our vital air and energy.
Hello.
Go on, sir.
So in dharana we have perseverance and steady and continuation of and concentration, and dhyana we have meditation, and samadhi we have self-realization. So just I am interpreting the Patanjali Yoga Sutra that in contemporary our Indian philosophical tradition for these four level of values, that is the personal, social, national, and international. So I am just giving you again a small slide just to show more visible to all. I have here the limbs of yoga, as it can be seen, depicting 8 limbs of Patanjali Yoga as values contributing for global peace as per ancient Sanskrit philosophical text, the Yoga Sutra. In the first column, I have the limbs of yoga, and second column, these interpretation of these 8 limbs of yoga in its universal value contributing for global peace and harmony. Can we interpret this Patanjali Yoga Sutra particularly? And level of value I have given as a personal, social, national, and international. Like we start with the first yama, that is the Satya, and it can be said, or it is a universal value which is applicable to all. In fact, it is an existential and metaphysical values also, and Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahm, it has been, of course, from very beginning, very Upanishadic Vedic tradition we do have. Of course, science is also based on the truth. Wherever the new truths are revealed, they are accepted, and science is based on that, and science itself is a scientia, or a specific knowledge which is from the scientific method. So Satya is of course universal value, that is we have the first yama, and it is having personal value, social value, national, and its international value, no doubt to accept it. We have the second yam is ahimsa. Again, it is a universal value, and we have all level of its personal, social, national, and international. Asteya, of course, it is social value, and we do have personal. One should follow, social follow, and in terms of national, we can interpret, of course. And again, we have aparigraha, the value of reducing social discrimination, equality, socialism. It is having level of values, personal and social. We have brahmacharya, we can say it is a personal value. Of course, it is related with others also in terms of when person is following brahmacharya. And now saucha is internal and external purity. It is a personal value, mental and physical purity, social value. So sauch is also our personal and social value. And now we have santosh, it is a psychic value, essential for social, national, international harmony. Until there are the santosh or contentment, it is required at every level, every fulfillment. For peace, of course, it is necessary. So we have all levels, it is yes. Now the tapa, it is a universal value in terms of personal, but firmness and capacity building, it is a personal value. Now we have the swadhyaya. It is a compulsory for reflection, retraction, indispensable for tolerance and mutual understanding. Swadhyaya, tapaswadhyaya, Ishwar pranidhan, it is a kriya yoga also, it has been told, and for self-meditation, for self-understanding, and it is having personal value also, it is having social value also, and it is having national value also in my interpretation. Ishwar pranidhan, it can be, if strictly talking about it is a spiritual value, of course it is a personal value related with devotion and faith. Now coming to the second ling of asana, how we can interpret asana, the value of physical and mental health is still sukham asana. It is a personal value, it is a national value, it is an international value in terms of when the person is happy, the person is still and sukha, and all those things are there. In that way, it is applicable to all, of course, for that. And pranayama, it is a vital energy enhancing the power of life force. It is, of course, it is a personal value also in terms of we are doing in corona pandemic. So its role and adoptions and that is for society. If we take a concrete or a discrete society, then of course not, but in terms of all in social that we are living, so it is there also in national level also for health and happiness of all our citizens. Pratyahara, we can say value of sacrifice, restraint and withdrawal, and in all levels it is. Then dharana is concentration, it is a personal value. Dhyana is again all levels we can say it is required, and samadhi, of course, it is a personal, the supreme values in terms of spiritual fulfillment and peaceful. So for blissful and consciousness, again this is the samadhi, and this was a small interpretation of mine for our small this our national or international webinar on yoga in contemporary Indian philosophy. What I have tried to submit and present here, the scenario of yoga, not only limited to philosophy department, I am just summarizing, but it is open to all, open to various branch of learning, because the benefits of yoga can be from various branches of learning. So therefore thereby these are spread across the subject, and we have also in our series of yoga webinar viewers also, our participants also from the across the subject. So we should cater, we should fulfill our researchers, particularly in philosophy department, in terms of our wider perspective of since we have had since beginning the Yoga Sutra in our sixth system of Indian philosophy. So this was only to correlate with our philosophical Indian contemporary scenario in terms of research with other places of research. And second part, I have just tried to present the in contemporary situations, the interpretation of Ashtanga Yoga in terms of personal, social, national, and international values. And just to conclude, I like to thank upon all the organizer, Professor Arvind Vikram Singh ji, for very humbly and bringing out this program, and Dr. Anubhav Varshne ji also for very continuously going with all efforts for making this program coming up to this stage, and those from the department, those who are here in hosting and technically supporting this. Of course, there has been some problem in university today for which there was some delay, and but overall, I again thanks to all our viewers who are connected with this, and this my presentation. If anything could be beneficial for this my small contribution, I would be happy. Further, any question is there, and my namaskar and jai hind to all.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful presentation in the manner which you told that how yoga is not only limited to a particular discipline, it is not only a part of philosophy, but it has also many other practical applications. How other subjects are using the theories of yoga. So thank you so much, sir, for that. Now we are open for questions. If anybody has to ask something, please, you can ask. Any questions from listeners? No, I guess no questions, sir. Now I would like to, Professor Raghunath Ghosh, would you like to say something? Ghosh, sir? No, I think he is not with us. He is not with us. No. Okay. Now I would like Dr. Arvind Vikram Singh, Head Department of Philosophy. Yes, sir. To conclude the webinar. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're back. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Raghunath Ghosh ji.
Sir.
Okay, thank you. So I congratulate Professor Dubey for very enlightening speech, and it is not only in India, limited not only in India, but how it can be made international, intranational, and also throughout the globe. So I am very much impressed through the explanation he has given of Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, and it is very useful for us, and I think as he rightly referred to pandemic COVID-19, so we are also happy that the yoga has practical aspect also. So philosophy is like this. Philosophy is not only theoretical, but it has got also practical aspect. It can give you to something, add to your knowledge, add to your body, add to your other perspective. That's why it is yoga. Otherwise it is yoga. So dissociation. So dissociation has no role in our Indian tradition. So I am thankful to Professor Dubey for representing philosophy in this manner. So I congratulate him again. As my friend, he is also my friend. So we are happy to hear him.
Thank you so much, sir. My namaskar to you. And some of our participants are asking for the PPT. So let me tell you
how you feel.
No, very nice, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words, sir. I am blessed.
Thank you so much, Professor Raghunath. Now I would like to invite Professor Daniel. Would you like to say something in the end?
Okay.
Professor Daniel.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I also want to thank you and to thank everybody, and to remind ourselves that in hard days we can always go to philosophy for support. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to invite Professor R.C. Sinha, Chairperson of ICPR, to say a few words.
जी सबको मेरा नमस्कार पुनः। मैंने सोचा नहीं था या ठीक से प्रोग्राम मैंने नहीं देखा होगा कि वैलिडिटी में भी हमको बोलना है, लेकिन कुछ देर पहले किसी ने हमको फ़ोन कर बताया कि आपको 3:30 में प्रेजेंट रहना है, तो भोजन करके मैं सीधे आपके बीच में आ गया। सबसे पहले मैं धन्यवाद दूं अरविंद विक्रम सिंह और अनुभव को, जिन्होंने बहुत सुंदर ढंग से इस वेबिनार को प्रस्तुत किया है। और जो वक्तागण है, जो स्पीकर्स, तो उसमें डॉक्टर रमाकांत अंगिरस एंड प्रोफेसर रघुनाथ घोष, प्रोफेसर डैनियल and Dr. Sushim Dubey, and I have almost heard each and every lecture. For some time I was off. प्रोफेसर रघुनाथ घोष का सुनने के बाद थोड़ी देर के लिए मैं चला गया था, लेकिन फिर प्रोफेसर डैनियल को हमने सुना। और हम चाहेंगे, वैलिडिटी में तो आपको सिर्फ धन्यवाद देना रहता है, बधाई देना रहता है। आपने बहुत इन डेप्थ स्टडी के साथ सभी लोगों ने प्रेजेंटेशन दिया। मैं स्टार्ट करना चाहूँगा कि किस तरह से योग को केसी भट्टाचार्य के साथ जोड़कर प्रोफेसर डैनियल ने प्रेजेंट किया। प्रोफेसर केसी भट्टाचार्य के संदर्भ में कि उन्होंने जो दर्शन की परिभाषा दी कि फिलॉसफी इज एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ थियोरेटिक कॉन्शसनेस। I will certainly, after listening his lecture, I understand that philosophy is not only a expression of theoretic consciousness, but it is also, it can be used, it has got its therapeutic use also. Since yoga philosophy is a practical one, तो ये योग फिलॉसफी का जो व्यवहारिक पक्ष है, उस पक्ष पर भी बल देते हुए केसी भट्टाचार्य के दर्शन को योग के साथ जोड़कर आज जो पैंडेमिक सिचुएशन है, उस संदर्भ में जो प्रोफेसर रघुनाथ घोष जी ने और रविन्द्रनाथ टैगोर के यौगिक फिलॉसफी के बारे में बताया, और श्री अरविंद के बारे में जो लेक्चर डॉक्टर रमाकांत जी ने दिया, वो बहुत ही इल्यूमिनेटिंग रहा। और एक चीज मुझे हमेशा ये कभी सालता रहा है कि एक बार की घटना है कि ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी के एक संस्कृत के प्रोफेसर ने हमसे प्रश्न पूछा था कि इज देयर एनी फिलोसोफर इन इंडिया आफ्टर शंकराचार्य। फिर उस क्वेश्चन को मॉडिफाई करते हुए हमने कहा कि इस प्रश्न को आप पूछना चाहेंगे तो आप ये प्रश्न पूछ सकते हैं कि इज देयर एनी फिलोसोफर आफ्टर आफ्टर वेदांत। बाद में हमने उनको बताया कि किस तरह से केसी भट्टाचार्य की फिलोसफी में ओरिजिन, ही वांटेड टू नो कि व्हाट इज ओरिजिनल, क्योंकि वेदांत के ही दर्शन को ये पुनर्व्याख्यायित करते हैं, ऐसी मान्यता विदेशों में रही है और कुछ कुछ लोगों की हो सकती है, जिसमें वो ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी के संस्कृत के प्रोफेसर की मान्यता थी कि वेदांत के बाद भारतीय दर्शन में कोई मौलिक कोई दर्शन शास्त्री या दार्शनिक उभर नहीं पाए। तो उस संदर्भ में हमको याद है कि केसी भट्टाचार्य और श्री अरविंद की बात हमने की थी और आज ये खुलकर बात आई कि केसी भट्टाचार्य और श्री अरविंद की मौलिकता पर योग के परिप्रेक्ष्य में आप लोगों ने प्रकाश डाला। इसके लिए मैं खुद ICPR के अध्यक्ष होने के नाते ये मेरा कर्तव्य बनता है कि आपको मैं धन्यवाद दूं। और इस इंटरनेशनल योगा डे को पहले हम लोग मनाते थे तो प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट्स कुछ एक दो घंटे तक वो योगासन करते थे और एक आध लेक्चर हम लोग कराते थे एकेडमिक सेंटर्स में भी और 2-3 जगह कराते थे। लेकिन इस बार ये प्रकृति का प्रकोप था, लेकिन ये निर्णय लेना पड़ा हमें कि पूरे महीने भर एक साथ ये पूरे महीने में कभी भी किसी भी समय यूनिवर्सिटी इस योग इंटरनेशनल योग डे को मना सकती है। और यहाँ हमारा एक उद्देश्य और था, एक उद्देश्य ये था कि ICPR का एक संकुचित क्षेत्र रहा है, वो यूनिवर्सिटी या बड़े बड़े इंस्टीट्यूशन के साथ जुड़ता रहा है। लेकिन प्रयास ये रहा, जैसे उदाहरण के लिए हम दादा को बोलना चाहेंगे कि बंगाल के बहुत सारे छोटे छोटे कॉलेजेस में हम लोगों ने ये इंटरनेशनल योग के माध्यम से ICPR के बारे में बहुत नाम भी नहीं जानते थे। ICPR का फुल फॉर्म क्या है, उनके पास भी हम लोग इस बार बहुत सारे कार्यक्रम को लेकर हम लोग गए इंटरनेशनल योगा डे को। तो ये एक ICPR का एक प्रयास है कि छोटी छोटी जगहों में और सिर्फ बड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी या बड़े इंस्टीट्यूशन के साथ ही नहीं, बल्कि जो दूर दराज में भी कॉलेजेस हैं उनके साथ भी हम जुड़े, क्योंकि फिलॉसफी तभी पनप सकता है, बढ़ सकता है। और इंटरनेशनल योगा के माध्यम से ये काम हम लोगों ने किया है, बखूबी किया है। अब तो इंटरनेशनल योगा डे अब ऑलमोस्ट हम लोग वाइंड अप करने जा रहे हैं। और दूसरी बात कि आज के जो डिस्कशंस हुए उसमें हमको ये नहीं पता था कि रविन्द्रनाथ टैगोर क्या इतना बढ़िया योग के साथ घोष दादा ने बहुत अच्छे से बड़े सरल और सहज अंग्रेजी में आपने बात रखी, बहुत अच्छा लगा। और वैलिडिटी में कोई बहुत ज़्यादा तो बात नहीं बोल सकते हैं, स्कोप भी नहीं है। हाँ, एक चीज़ जो श्री अरविंद और बुद्धिज़्म और ये हम देखते हैं कि किस तरह से इंटीग्रल योगा श्री अरविंद का और महर्षि पतंजल का योग और बुद्धिज्म में हम देखते हैं कि अब महायान बुद्धिज्म को बोधिसत्व को लें कि कैसे माइंडफुलनेस और मेडिटेशन कैसे महात्मा बुद्ध को सिद्धार्थ महात्मा बुद्ध बन गए और वो एक बोधि वृक्ष के नीचे बैठकर जब उनको प्रकाश मिलता है, इनलाइटनमेंट, तो वो सिद्धार्थ महात्मा बुद्ध बन गए। तो बोधिसत्व बोधिसत्व और श्री अरविंद के ये इंटीग्रल योगा में अब यहाँ अक्सर कभी कभी मैं कहता रहा कि बोधिसत्व ने सर्व मुक्ति की बात की, स्व से सर्व की बात बुद्धिज्म के वो महायान बुद्धिज्म में जो बोधिसत्व का कंसेप्ट है वहाँ सर्व की बात आती है, और श्री अरविंदो ने भी सर्व मुक्ति की बात की है। लेकिन अंतर ये है कि श्री अरविंद ने प्रकृति को भी अति प्राकृतिक अवस्था, नेचर विल बिकम सुपर नेचर, मैन एंड नेचर बोथ विल इवॉल्व। ये पतंजलि योग सूत्र में भी ऐसी बात नहीं है। इंडिविजुअल या व्यक्ति पुरुष परम पुरुष बन जाता है, लेकिन ये श्री अरविंद का एक बहुत बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन है इंटीग्रल योगा का कि मैन विल इवॉल्व एंड मैन एलोन कैन नॉट इवॉल्व, द नेचर विल आल्सो इन्वॉल्व। दैट इज द यूनिक एंड सर्टेनली नोबल कंट्रीब्यूशन कि धरती प्रकृति भी वो भी दिव्यता को, मनुष्य दिव्य होगा लेकिन प्रकृति भी दिव्यता की ओर बढ़ती है, और प्रकृति नेचर विल बिकम द सुपर नेचर एंड मैन विल बिकम द सुपरमैन, सुपरामेंटल कॉन्शसनेस उसमें आता है। तो ये एक ऐसा नहीं कह सकते हैं केसी भट्टाचार्य के बारे में भी कि ही वॉज वेरी मच ओरिजिनल, क्योंकि हम ब्रह्मास्मि तक वो नहीं रुकते हैं, तत्वमसि तक नहीं रुकते हैं केसी भट्टाचार्य। वो कहते हैं कि अद्वैत वेदांत में जब तत्वमसि की बात करते हैं, अहम ब्रह्मास्मि की बात करते हैं, तो देयर इज ए ट्रेस ऑफ ड्युअलिटी, आई एम ब्रह्मन, बट he transcends that also. He transcends the duality of the subject and object, और उनका एक प्योर कॉन्शसनेस का जो लेवल है, तो केसी भट्टाचार्य ने भी उनका भी एक मौलिक योगदान है। और इस डेलिब्रेशन में केसी भट्टाचार्य को, टैगोर को और श्री अरविंद को और इस तरह से कंटेम्प्रेरी इंडियन थिंकर्स को देयर इज अ नीड टू हाईलाइट। ऐसा नहीं है कि हम लोग बस वेदांत तक ही अपने को बंद कर लें, उसके बाद ये या ऑर्थोडॉक्स और हेटेरोडॉक्स सिस्टम्स के बाद हम सिर्फ इंटरप्रिटेशन करते रहें। कंटेम्प्रेरी इंडियन तो अदरवाइज देयर विल बी ए ग्रेट गैप इन फिलोसॉफिकल वर्ल्ड। इसलिए बहुत ही मौजूद, प्रासंगिक और ये प्रयास है कि योग इन कंटेम्प्रेरी थॉट और योग इन कंटेम्प्रेरी इंडियन फिलोसफी, इस विषय को रखने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं सबको नमस्कार करते हुए, प्रणाम करते हुए अपनी वाणी को विराम। वैलिडिटी सेशन में मुझे बोलना था, ये नहीं याद था, इसके लिए क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ। हाँ, एक किसी ने फोन किया कि आप तो घर में खाना खा के बैठ गए हैं, आपको यहाँ आना है, तो मैं जल्दी से आ गया। धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, sir. We are very grateful to you that thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Arvind Vikram Singh, Head of Department of Philosophy, University of Rajasthan, to conclude this webinar.
Thank you. Dear friends and scholars, all good things come to an end. The webinar has come to its concluding point. We got many insightful views and ideas related to yoga philosophy, its contemporary interpretations, and also yoga as a way of life. Let me extend my heartfelt gratitude to ICPR for funding the webinar. On the behalf of my department and university, I am thankful with humility and sincerity to the chairperson of ICPR, Dr. R.C. Sinha sir, for always encouraging initiative in the teaching and the research in philosophy. I am also thankful to Professor Sinha for having suggested us to organize the webinar on the contemporary time. We are extremely grateful to Professor Ramakant Angiras sir for a wonderful exposition of Sri Aurobindo's philosophy and his notion of integral yoga. Dr. Ghosh gave us an insightful overview of how the concept of yoga developed at the hand of Swami Vivekananda and the Tagore. Professor Daniel Rave beautifully contextualized the Yoga Sutras in the light of Professor K.C. Bhattacharya, and Dr. Sushim Dubey has focused on the practical application of yoga and show how it is useful for other subjects also. We are also thankful to Dr. Sushim Dubey for the multiple kind of support and cooperation which he has always extended to us in every academic event. I also take this opportunity to thank the faculty member of my department, technical staff, research scholars, students of the department. Without their support and cooperation, the event was unimaginable. Last but not the least, let me also express my deep sense of gratitude to all the listeners who have been patiently with us for the last 4 hours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So, the webinar on yoga in contemporary philosophy, contemporary Indian philosophy comes to an end. The feedback link will be sent by email to all the participants. Thank you very much for listening patiently, for being us for more than 3 hours. And once again, very sorry for starting a bit late. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.